Okay, now for the second part of the third chapter of Wetti Muni's Buddha's teaching and the ambiguity of existence. We covered in the previous part the difference between immediate experience and reflective experience. Immediate experience is when we make the outside world the object of our experience. Reflexive experience is when we make the immediate experience the object of our experience. In other words, experience of experience. Self-observation.
We observe our experience, like we take a step back.
Right. With recollection, mindfulness. That means, recollect means recollect.
The different parts of ourselves.
Yes, we collect all the different parts of ourselves, and not only that, a particular view.
Yeah, we pick up an ontological model.
So this is mindfulness. Mindfulness is when we recollect our purpose, our objective, our method, and a specific point of view, a specific aim. We're trying to solve the problems of existence using the Buddha's method. And we focus our attention on our immediate experience, and we observe how we experience that experience. So Wetti Muni goes on to say, thus, when we perceive a perception, the perception itself is immediate experience. The observation of the immediate experience is the reflexive experience. In other words, reflexive experience is the experience of experience, or being aware of being aware. So now let's go on from there. Since no observation of a perception can occur unless the perception is present, there is no reflexive experience that does not include or involve immediate experience.
So we move away from the conscious of consciousness concept.
Yeah, because that is actually consciousness of a memory. It's the perception of something that happened in the past.
Yeah. Or the awareness of space is mistaken for the awareness of consciousness, or something like that.
Yeah, consciousness is such a vague idea, and it's defined so differently by so many different thinkers that for now, until we've defined it precisely in terms of the Buddha's teaching, it's probably better to stay away from the idea of consciousness and focus on what is actually present. See, Wetti Muni goes on to say, whereas reflective experience is conceptual, reflexive experience, with an X, is phenomenological, based on actual experience.
Reflective is thinking about, and reflexive is actually observing the experience.
Right. You can't change yourself by thinking. You can only change yourself by acting on your experience in the moment. He goes on to say, a mental image or idea is also an immediate experience.
As long as it's loaded in your space.
Right, and as long as it's recognized as this is a mental impression.
Yeah.
This is something that comes from the past. A mental impression is always based on the past. But immediate experience is in the present. And we'll define all these things exactly, but the immediate experience can include sense impressions, but it can also include the mind. But when we think about things that happened in the past, that's reflective.
Yeah.
Reflexive means
you're aware of a memory from the past.
Immediate experience of the present, even it's a mental impression, but we're aware of it as an impression.
Yes. A real-time impression.
Yeah, we don't think of that this is a real experience in the sense of reviving the memory or reliving the memory. We don't trust it.
No.
Because we know that the mind introduces all kinds of distortions in its memories. It does that because its aim is survival. Survival as a self.
Yeah.
Our aim is beyond that, but we'll get to that. And here's another interesting point. We also see that reflexive experience has quite a long attention span compared to immediate experience, which, lacking the reflexive component, is very short-lived. Now I experience birds chirping. Then I experience the smell of some leaves and flowers and dirt.
Then the fly in your eye.
Yeah. And then the computer sitting here, and then you're speaking.
Yeah. So it could be, if it's a reflective experience, then you shift from all those different objects. But if it's a reflexive experience, you observe all those things entering your space.
Yes. The fact of observing makes the experience longer lived. Because observing can include a vast number of different types of experiences. Whereas the raw experience itself is always changing. We experience one thing and immediately jump to the next. So the attention span of self-observation is longer by, well, it could be hundreds or thousands of times longer than the immediate experience. Things arise in immediate experience. But as soon as reflexive experience occurs, one is directly aware that there are things. That's the difference. In immediate experience, we are aware of the things. But we're not aware that there are things. See? That takes an extra level. And he calls that extra level, or abstraction, reflexive experience.
Things here are probably dhammas, which is a broad term, includes all phenomena that shows up in your space through the 5 aggregates.
Things, that's what he means by things.
Things, not only external objects, but anything that enters your space.
Anything that you can recognize as a thing.
Yeah.
Immediate experience of things may be instantaneous or enduring. A flash of lightning is an instantaneous immediate experience, whereas an immediate experience of movement endures from its beginning in the past through the immediate experience of moving in the present to a future destination. So some immediate experiences are ongoing.
Yeah.
Like the experience of my day. That experience takes the whole day.
Yeah.
Whereas other experiences happen very quickly. In the immediate experience of a thing, I am conscious of the thing, but I am not aware that I am aware of that particular thing. In reflexive experience, I am aware that I am conscious of that particular thing and no other. In other words, I recognize that thing. That thing has a specific individual existence in my world. It's that thing and no other.
Yeah. You're aware that now my mind is doing this, or now the mind is doing this.
Yeah.
This is the behavior of the mind at this moment.
Yeah, you can observe your mind like that. That's very wonderful. In the immediate experience of a movement, I am conscious of the movement, but I am not aware that what I am conscious of is a movement.
Oh.
However, in reflexive consciousness, at its most fundamental level, I am aware that I am conscious of a movement and not of anything else. So the recognition is very important. And this brings in ontology again.
Yeah.
If your ontology contains a conceptual category for that thing, then you can recognize it and you can know that you know it. You can know that you're being aware of it. You can be aware of your awareness, or experience your experience of that thing. But if you don't know, if you don't have an ontological category for that experience, you will not be able to recognize it, and so you will not be able to bring it into reflexive awareness, reflexive experience. This happens all the time with spiritual experiences. A person has no spiritual knowledge or no ontology of spiritual experience. That doesn't mean they're not having spiritual experience. Huh? People have spiritual experiences all the time. But because they don't have a category or a name for that type of experience,
they don't recognize it.
It gets lost.
Yeah.
And the value is also lost. You know, if somebody gives me a piece of paper and I don't recognize that this is money, I'm liable to just throw it away or lose it. Huh? But if I'm aware, oh, this is $1,000 bill.
You're not going to throw it away.
No, I'm going to stick it in my ear or something, keep it somewhere. So,
when it comes to spiritual experiences, Buddha Das Bhikkhu talks about that all the time. That you really have an spiritual experience anytime that your eye or mind doesn't show up.
That's great.
Anytime your mind settles, you have a spiritual experience.
Yeah. He was making the example of the people listening to his talk. That because they're not engaged in I am doing this and I am doing that, they're actually in a state of no I.
Yeah.
Not
it's
self.
A pre-taste of Nibbana.
Yeah.
He calls it.
Yeah. Because the mind is settled. It's cooled down. Nibbana.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. But if you don't have the knowledge that Buddha Das has, you wouldn't see that.
They would leave the talk and they wouldn't know that they had that experience.
No, and they wouldn't value it either.
No.
They would, okay, we went to a lecture.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't say, wow, we went to a lecture and we actually had a moment of egolessness. So that's much more valuable than any ordinary experience.
Yeah. And they're able to relish that and recognize it later.
Well, that's what he says next. In reflexive experience, the thing is twice present, both immediately and reflexively. In other words, I experience a thing, and I also experience my recognition of that thing. It's reflexive.
Yeah.
That's where the name comes from. This is the most fundamental level of reflexive experience, merely being aware of the immediate experience. It is not yet equal to the state of sati-sampajañña, described above. The last time we talked a little bit about sati-sampajañña, and that he is making that Pali term more or less equivalent to right reflection, reflection with an X, or mindfulness and awareness.
Mindfulness and awareness.
Yes, mindfulness with awareness. Sati-sampajañña. Okay? And this has certain advantages. It leads to knowledge and seeing. Seeing what the value of your experience really is, based on knowledge of the actual categories of spiritual experience. And it leads to calm and tranquility because of the longer attention span that we described. And the fact that the mind does settle in this experience of self-observation. In the beginning, self-observation takes a good bit of training. Once you get used to it, though, and it becomes a habit, it's actually much more comfortable than rushing from one experience to the next and being lost in your experience. But then he goes on to say, true reflexion, with an X, is an advanced level or higher degree of reflexive experience. As we continue with reflexion, we observe the general nature, dhamma, of the immediate experience while the immediate experience is present. We disregard the individual peculiarities of the immediate experience and instead pay attention to its general characteristics or category. So in other words, I classify my experience. I don't not only observe it and recognize it, I also classify it in a general category. Okay? That now I'm being aware of this computer in front of me. Okay?
You're seeing it, you're touching it.
I'm seeing it, I'm touching it, and this is an awareness of the 5 sense aggregates. Okay? I'm thinking of it as my computer. Like that.
5 physical senses plus the mind.
Yes.
6.
So he says, since the faculty of reflexion, with an X, is inherent in the structure of our experience, the immediate experience is always potentially under observation.
We always have the ability to observe.
And we're always recognizing and classifying things anyway.
Yeah.
It's just that we're not doing it in any sense related to our ultimate purpose in life.
We're doing it out of old habit instead of being aware of what we're doing and doing it systematically according to, for example, the teachings of the Buddha.
Yeah, we're not aware of our awareness. That's yet another higher level of reflexive consciousness, reflexive experience. In the immediate experience of a thing, attention is on the thing. No effort is required to maintain this immediate attention. Maintaining reflexive experience requires pulling attention back from the thing and directing it toward the experience instead. This does not happen spontaneously, only intentionally. So there has to be some intention to experience things on a higher level. We have to, in other words, we have to be thoughtful. We have to be recollected to have reflexive experience.
And it does not happen spontaneously, only intentionally. It means it will never happen only spontaneously.
Right.
Your awareness is supposed to grow until it fills the whole day, instead of, you're not just training in some new nice habits. You're becoming more and more alive and awake.
There's a purpose in it. A purpose means a line of directed effort that is aimed toward a particular goal. Okay? So in our case, the goal is that we want to attain enlightenment or cessation of suffering, which amount to the same thing. So when we classify our experiences, we do so in accordance with the knowledge about that particular aim. Okay? We say, oh, now I'm getting caught up in my thoughts, or now I'm getting caught up in my senses. And we try to bring our attention back to the viewpoint where we can observe our experience.
Yes.
And he also says, immediate experience makes the thing manifest to us, but does not describe it. Reflexive experience provides the description. I can look at that door, but in my immediate experience, I don't think of it as a door.
No.
I only think of it when I reflect on it. That, oh, that's a door.
Yeah.
Now I can even walk through the door, I can close it or open it, and not even think of it as anything but something in my way. But if I bring my attention back from it and look at it to recognize it, I can see, oh yeah, that's a door. Everybody does these things anyway. Okay?
Most people, when they walk through a door, they're not aware of opening a door, walking through the door, closing the door.
Right.
It's like automatic.
Yes. It's already programmed. They simply invoke the program. I want to go here. So to do that, I have to open this door. And I just do it. I don't think about it.
Yeah. Because you're thinking about something else normally.
Right. I don't have the reflexive experience of that moment.
No.
I have reflective experience of some future. I want to go here. I want to go there. But see, that's not based on immediate experience. So it's reflective experience, not reflexive. So Why are we going through all of this? To build up precise definitions of terms as a foundation for expressing the teaching of the Buddha in a way that is functional and practical, that you can apply to your everyday life, your everyday experience.
We're labeling your experience.
Right, categorizing. Why? So you can describe it. Like he says here, reflexive experience provides the description. So if your reflexive experience of your experience includes the different qualities of experience that are relevant to self-realization, then you start to experience your experience in a way that gradually moves you towards self-realization. It's not that there's some effort you can make to become enlightened.
No.
It's totally a matter of awareness. Bringing awareness into a situation in such a way that you become aware of how you're holding yourself back from enlightenment. Because enlightenment is our natural state.
Yeah.
Try to understand. Everyone's already enlightened in the sense that enlightenment is there as a potential within us.
Yeah.
We're holding ourselves back from it because we're busy with ego and all this other stuff.
We're covered by I and mine.
I and mine.
And because we're always chasing sense desire, for example, we're always chasing our senses, then that keeps our attention in this very narrow range and keeps us from experiencing our full experience.
Yeah. Desire is a lack of something.
Yes.
As soon as we go to chase a desire, it all starts from there.
We miss everything.
I, mine, the future, economics, everything, power, everything is coming from that.
Yeah.
All the things that entangle us and distract us from our real being. Reflexive experience, beginning from the most basic level of mere awareness, results from immediate experience. Immediate experience comes first. Reflexive experience following, with immediate experience still being present. Immediate experience is the foundation, and reflexive experience is a superstructure above it. Thus, when there is immediate experience of a perception, there is a resultant reflexive experience of the perception with the perception still lasting. The foundation can exist without the superstructure, but the foundation has to be there for the superstructure to exist. So in other words, I can experience my immediate experience without reflection, or reflexion, with an X. And everybody does this anyway. Even animals do it. But reflective experience or reflexive experience is something on top of that. Reflective experience dealing with impressions of the past immediate experience, and reflexive experience dealing with that experience that is present.
Observing what is.
What is at the moment. What is, what ain't. Okay? So all these sayings now come into better understanding. What is. We're talking about present. The immediate experience. What ain't. We're not talking about the past. The reflective experience. Reflexive experience means that the foundation, the immediate experience, is present at the moment that we are thinking about it.
The sense impression or the feeling or whatever is there.
It's there. It's a performance art. It's not armchair philosophy. It's real time.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thinking about it won't help unless you...
Well, thinking about it won't help at all.
No.
Listen what the Buddha says. Perception, monks, I say, results in description. As one perceives something, so one describes. I was perceptive thus. This, monks, is called the result of perception. Indeed, Pottapāda, perception arises first, knowledge after. But the arising of knowledge is from the arising of perception. One understands thus, with this as a condition, knowledge arose in me. So here we get into this, that conditioning.
Yeah, and and perception is the reflection, and knowledge is the reflexion. Like he uses it there.
Right, exactly. If I think, I had this experience in the past, that's reflection. But if I think, oh, I'm having this experience right now, that's reflexion with an X. With this as a condition, knowledge arose in me. In other words, when this is present, that is present. When this experience is present, this knowledge arises in me. When I see this object in front of me, the knowledge arises, oh, that's a computer.
Well, perception, it can be like, you see the door, you think door.
No, that's perception and reflection.
I thought reflexion. I thought reflexion was the awareness of I am seeing the door.
Reflexion, yes.
Reflexion, yeah.
The experience is simply seeing the door.
Yeah, perception.
Perception. Being
Sanya.
aware that it's a door is reflexion.
Vijnana is seeing the door. Consciousness. Sense, eye consciousness
Sense
of the door.
consciousness, right.
And then sanya is the perception of what it is.
Right, the knowledge.
Knowledge
The
comes...
recognition that comes out of that. See, what he says here, look, perception results in description.
Yes.
I'm seeing a door.
Seeing a door.
But to have the knowledge, I'm seeing a door, you have to have the experience first.
Yes.
The knowledge, I'm seeing a door, cannot arise without the experience being present first. Okay? So, as one perceives something, so one describes, I was perceptive thus. It's not a reflection, because the perception is still present.
Yeah.
It's a reflexion, with an X.
Perception can be through all the senses, immediate, or it can be a perception of a memory in the mind.
Yes. But in that case, you have to be aware that
for it to be
it's a memory.
Reflexion.
Yes.
Like that.
If you're simply dreaming along in your memories, that's not reflexion, that's reflection.
Yeah.
Okay, so what most people do when they think, quote unquote, is that they simply dream along in their memories. And it cannot,
aware that they're dreaming.
It cannot affect their actual life. It cannot change their level of consciousness or level of being. Because it's not something immediate, it's not something present. And being is in the present.
After they're finished daydreaming, it doesn't have any bearing on their continued experience.
Right, they haven't changed their method of experience at all. They're still experiencing things in the same way, same old way, I should say. That simply they're going through it as an immediate experience, and maybe they're reflecting on it. But it's not reflexive experience because the experiences are all in the past. Oh, I did this, I said that. Darn, I should have said this. That would have been a much better But guess what? The next time that happens, you're going to respond in the same old way.
Yeah.
You're not going to come up with a snappy comeback.
And you're going to think back many times, I should have done this way, I should have done this way. On many different occasions you think the same thing.
That's reflection, yeah. But it still happens the same way every time when it actually happens.
Reflexion would be, there is a memory of the past.
Yes, and seeing it happen in the present, saying, okay, I'm not going to do it this way this time. I'm going to do it differently this time. I'm going to change my way of being. I'm going to change my response. I'm going to change my recognition or my condition that results in the description. Do you understand? No. The immediate experience happens. And instead of doing things the same old way,
you're aware
you
of
recognize that.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a situation where I could use that snappy comeback.
If you're aware of the situation.
If you're aware. And then you might be able to bring the memory in for recognizing the situation.
But if you're lost in the experience, you won't be able to do that.
That's right. So you have to have some distance. You have to, like it says, pull back from the immediate experience and have the reflexion with an X of that experience available in real time. Even though they come in sequence, they come so quickly after each other. But what this is a great instance of that conditionality. The immediate experience has to be present for the reflexive experience to occur. Right? One is the conditioning or the determination for the other.
Yeah.
Knowledge, whether right or wrong, is reflexive experience. In the suttas, we frequently find the emphatic phrase, thus knowing, thus seeing. Evam jānato, evam passato. This phrase refers directly to reflexive experience with an X. Seeing is reflexive experience at the level of reflexion. One sees rightly that the present experience is of such and such a nature, dhamma. One sees it as it really is, yathābhūtam. When I have a malevolent or hateful thought, I see and know that it is unpleasant. And I see it as unpleasant while it still persists in me. From this seeing or understanding, I derive the knowing or knowledge, jnana, that it is unpleasant. Such experiential knowledge is reliable because the object of knowledge is still present. And in this context, knowing is seeing and seeing is knowing. See, that's a different kind of experience than simply having a hateful thought
and be done with it.
And agreeing with it.
Yeah. You're thinking that's you.
Thinking that it's me. Oh yeah, I hate that guy. Instead, having a hateful thought and thinking, oh, I'm having a hateful thought. Well, that's not very nice.
That's unpleasant. That's suffering.
Yeah, it's suffering. Why am I doing this to myself? But to change, you have to have the experience actually present. And what you're actually doing is you're burning new neural pathways in your brain to respond differently to that immediate experience.
You're revaluing the experience in real time.
Yes, in real time. In real time should be in bold face caps. That's the way we actually change. That's the way we actually grow. It has to be a real-time work.
Yes.
Not that we can sit down later and say, oh, darn, I had another hateful thought today. Aren't I bad? Well, I'm going to change that one of these days. That never works. Huh? Look at all the New Year's resolutions.
As immediate re-evaluation of the experience.
Right, for it to stick. And then the next time you have that kind of experience, it'll be easier. And the next time it'll be even easier, and so forth. Until the new habit, the new response gets established. And whenever you have a hateful thought, you automatically reject it. You just put it on hold or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
in the end, you cut the seed of it. You understand that even giving rise to hateful thoughts is...
Well, that's a higher stage. Yeah.
But
right now
but starting practicing it is...
That's the whole idea. The whole idea behind this chapter is that you start to practice it and you start to see the difference between immediate, reflective, and reflexive experience. So if you can get that, then you've got the point.
Yeah.